Instead of the F-35 and F-16, the Pentagon is shifting its focus to a new intermediate generation fighter. The fifth-generation fighters have proven to be costly, even for the United States, prompting the need for a replacement. However, the question remains, is it a wise decision? We'll have to wait and see when it's ready. But for now, let's delve into the specifics of this new fighter, its capabilities and the details of its development. So, make sure to subscribe to the channel and let's get started. The fifth-generation fighter F-35, which was supposed to replace almost the entire U.S. strike aircraft fleet, does not meet the capabilities of the U.S. Air Force. The desire to create a universal, cheap, and mass-produced stealth aircraft has officially been recognized as unattainable. This was openly stated by the commander of the U.S. Air Force, Charles Brown, in a conversation with journalists, where he compared the F-35 to a sports car that few people drive every day. But in response to the direct question of whether the Pentagon is really considering ordering new F-16s as an alternative to the F-35, Charles Brown gave a rather stunning answer. "I doubt that we will need modernized F-16s. If we are capable of creating something new, cheaper and better, why not do it? There's no need to choose from what we have now." As emphasized by Charles Brown, the U.S. Air Force has already conducted a detailed analysis of threats and has concluded that a completely new aircraft is needed. We need an entirely new fourth-plus or fifth-minus generation fighter. In terms of combat potential, it should be between aircraft built in the late 1970s and modern stealth aircraft like the F-35 and F-22, said the commander of the U.S. Air Force, adding that its development will not take too much time. In particular, he cited the example of the T-7A Red Hawk and the new secret next-generation air dominance aircraft, which were developed using modern computer technologies in record time. It should be noted that in the United States, there has been a wave of criticism. Instead of the unsuccessful F-35, the development of which cost $55 billion, and with modernized F-16s available, the Pentagon is talking about the expenses of developing a new aircraft with no guarantee of success. From the perspective of Defense Express, it should be noted that every fighter aircraft, like all other weapons, is created to perform specific tasks, taking into account the capabilities of the enemy. However, no one in the world has been able to replicate the F-22 and B-2, which were outlined in the 1980s. These aircraft were designed to counter the Soviet Union and its hypothetical capabilities. The F-35, created in the 2000s, is the result of the concept of total technological superiority, which in real life is too expensive for everyday use. The issue is that 1 hour of flight of this aircraft costs between $28,000 and $36,000, while 1 hour of flight for the F-16 costs between $8,000 and $22,000. However, all recent U.S. Air Force combat operations have shown that using the F-35 for bombing missions is not significantly more effective than using the F-16, not to mention the A-10, but it is significantly more expensive. During this time, no aircraft capable of competing with the F-35 in the sky has emerged. Even the Russian Su-57, which is mostly considered a fifth-generation fighter, will be delivered in homeopathic quantities, 76 aircraft by 2028, and this is without considering the traditional delays for Russia. I would call the Su-57 something between Super Hornet or Silent Eagle International Roadmap and Chinese J-20, and it is closer to the first than the second, said Tyler Rogowy, aviation analyst. A similar situation exists with the Chinese Chengdu J-20, which, in all likelihood, will be much more numerous than the Su-57, but has a range of questions regarding the effectiveness of onboard radar equipment, engine power, maneuverability, air-to-air missile capabilities, and more. The J-20 design is very similar to the American F-22 Raptor, although there are some clear differences between the two aircraft. Initially, it was believed that the aerodynamic scheme with the front plumage of the J-20 caused damage to the secrecy of the aircraft, but computer simulation shows that the J-20 is extremely difficult to detect with the frontal approximation, and its inconsistency can improve as the program is becoming. The J-20 hides its weapons from radars a little differently than Su-57. It uses one large armed compartment for different rockets and bombs, often designed for air fighting against terrestrial purposes. He also has two small side compartments for the air-air-air weapons. They allow the J-20 to keep the main compartment closed in battle with other fighters, minimizing the radar visibility of the aircraft. Officially, the aircraft does not have guns at all, which makes it the only fighter of the 5th generation in the world that has abandoned guns. It is important that Chengdu J-20 and Su-57 not just embody the best samples of their aircraft, they also represent the end of the American monopoly stealth fighters. So it is entirely logical that the Pentagon intends to quickly create a cost-effective aircraft for today's and the near future's tasks, using already developed technologies. Of course, it's quite challenging to outline the future aircraft based on the vague statement about a 4 to 5 generation aircraft. However, it is more likely to be something similar to the FA-18E FF Super Hornet, which, during modernization, achieved reduced radar visibility without compromising other aircraft capabilities. For example, modifications to air intakes, new landing gear doors, and technological panel shapes, as well as the use of radio-transparent materials in critical areas, have significantly reduced the radar cross-section in the frontal hemisphere compared to a typical 4th-generation fighter. At the same time, this aircraft has a relatively low cost per flight hour, within the range of $10,000 to $12,000. Its effectiveness also relies on a wide range of weaponry, including the potential addition of lightweight hypersonic missiles. It's worth noting that the US has an ace up its sleeve, the development of a 6th-generation fighter under the name Next Generation Air Dominance. The Air Force has stated that NGAD exists to study the 5 basic technologies that can appear in new generation aircraft in order to increase endurance, combat survivability, and stability. The rest of the technologies are not indicated, but there are many assumptions about them, including laser weapons. Thus, it is possible to conclude that the Pentagon is shifting away from a focus on global universality in the form of a single, multifunctional aircraft that can do everything. Of course, this does not mean the end of the F-35 program. However, its role, it seems, will become more specialized. For instance, it may be tasked with targeting and destroying critical targets and, thanks to its advanced electronic equipment, serving as an advanced airborne target detection platform. Furthermore, this very concept of using F-35 and F-15EX has already been outlined in the US. That is all for today. Thank you for watching. Please, share your opinion in the comments. Do you like the idea to replace F-16 and F-35 in the US Army? And if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell. We'll appreciate your support. See you soon.